Welcome, friends, to the Someone Gets Me podcast. I am your host, Dianne A, and I am so delighted that you're here. This podcast was created because I believe there is a visionary leader inside each one of us who is waiting to be seen. In each episode of Someone Gets Me, you will hear useful tips from successful visionaries who will share their stories about how being seen has allowed them to take their vision out into the world with action. Hi, friends. We're talking today about body doubling. So the title of today's show is Why Body Doubling Went Viral and what we can learn from this as neurodivergent, gifted people. Welcome to Someone Gets Me. And I am here, Dianne, your host, talking to you about body doubling. And I kind of laugh when I thought of this topic because I use body doubling a lot in my life. And in fact, I used it way before it was a termed thing. When I look back, it's kind of interesting. And so body doubling is very trendy right now. You see it all over TikTok videos. I go on TikTok to watch funny dog and cat videos and sometimes some quilting videos. And next thing I know, there's all of these people talking about body doubling as a productivity hack for people who have a hard time with their attention. And part of that's true too, right? So I thought, well, that's pretty interesting. And I wonder how many people don't know about it because, of course, I've mentioned it to a couple clients who were struggling and they hadn't heard of it yet. So let's talk about what this even is and how come it's going viral and how can you and I use it in our benefit. One of the things that I pay attention to in my work and in my personal life is how can I use what I'm learning in a real practical, everyday way for my benefit and the benefit of others. It's nice to know things. It's nice to know the theory. It's nice to have that understanding. I love it. And it's also nice to be able to take whatever it is we can conceptualize or understand or research and apply it into our daily life. Like, how does it even work? And so body doubling is one of those things that's exploded recently, right? But I've been using it for a long time. I remember years ago, I was in a group, small coaching program for people who were spiritually aligned. It was more of a metaphysical kind of way to run your business from higher principles. And it was a great group of people. And the gentleman is still running really great programs. His name is George Cow. I really, really appreciated everything and still appreciate everything he gives to the world. And one of the things he introduced us to was FocusMate, focusmate.com. And FocusMate is a form of virtual body doubling, though it wasn't called that then. We would get online with each other and share what you're going to work on. And then the other person would share what they're going to work on. And then you had 50 minutes to work. And the cameras were on and the microphones were on. So you basically had to do what you said you would do, right? Because as a gifted person, we want to do the right thing. And I got almost an entire book written doing that because I had the ability to focus. Add to that the competitive nature of us gifted people. And I would tell one of my partners, right, my FocusMate people, that I would want to write 900 words, say. And I ended up writing like 1,250 that time in a 50-minute window because I was racing myself. I was competitive with myself. And so there's a lot of benefit, right? And so those people didn't call it that I ever remember the word body doubling, but that's what it was. It was a virtual way for people who were maybe gifted or needed focus for whatever reason to come together from all over the place and support each other by being present, even if you never knew the person. I mean, I was paired with somebody making ukuleles one time, and I was paired with this really neat videographer in Australia another time. And so I got to meet really amazing people, but the common denominator was we were using body doubling in a virtual sense as a way to stay focused, finish our projects, and get things done. There were a lot of graduate students writing their dissertations and things. So that was years ago. And I've been watching it pick up speed, people's awareness. Recently, I had an organizer come help get everything organized in this new house I have. And I was telling her that I really needed somebody around to kind of help me think through things, that my neurodivergent brain is overwhelmed. She goes, "Oh, you just need body doubling." And I kind of stood back, and I didn't expect her to even know what that was. And she says, "Oh, I have a friend that has really, really bad ADHD, and I'm her body double. I come over and we do everything together, and that helps her." And so it's becoming more and more of a thing. It really helps our attention. And so I think that body doubling is also important because of our neurology, especially in person. Because, when we build rapport with someone, our brain and their brain builds mirror cells. Our brains start to co regulate and harmonize. So if you're the distracted person or the overwhelmed person, and there's all these things, all these papers, all these stacks, all these things, that are cluttering up your mind and your space, and another person comes in who's not dysregulated, who all the clutter doesn't bother them because it's not theirs, right? Then their calm, centered, focused way will co-regulate with you, and then you're going to be able to focus better. Your brain's going to settle down. Your system's going to go, okay, it's not as bad as it feels. Let's get to work. And then pretty soon the project's done. Now, if we were left on our own to do it, it would take a lot more time, effort, angst, and issues, right? Or maybe it wouldn't even get done. Maybe it would just get pushed aside. So I think that there's great use for body doubling. And I think the fact that it's gone viral is quite interesting. Now, I also notice there's people who are out there saying that body doubling works for them because they have a short attention span. And some of them are people more like in Gen Z and things like that, where they've never really been forced to have a longer attention span than some people who are older who have, because technology has made it so that things happen right away. If I don't answer a text right away, some people will get all uppity. And I'm like, well, just because the phone rings doesn't mean I answer it right away. It's a different way of doing things. Now, as a neurodivergent adult myself, running a business with a lot of things coming at me, I get around 200 or 300 junk emails every day and countless number of spam calls, no matter what I do to try to block them. So it takes little leaks out of me to open my email this morning, for example, and found almost 90 emails just overnight. And probably 2 of them are actually important to my work. They're people who are finding my email on LinkedIn or other places and just bombarding me. And then if I don't answer right away, they send another one to put themselves at the top of the list, which makes them get deleted, right? But as a neurodivergent person, that's incredibly overwhelming. And it's helpful to have a body double. I have a great assistant and she's amazing. You're going to meet her at the retreat. She's so cool. And she understands body doubling. And so there are times where I need to get a project done and I'm really struggling with putting it all together. And I'll say, come on over. And she comes over to the house with me and we sit up here in my office and she sits here and does her work. And I sit here and I get all my stuff done because she's simply present. And I can talk out loud to her if I want to. And I have support and neurological human presence, which then makes the hard thing easier. So in a real practical sense, body doubling really works. It works for people who have internal regulation issues. It works for people who feel kind of lonely or disconnected, which is an existential issue for most gifted people, is we're not very well understood. So there's that existential loneliness. And it works for people who have a lot of things on their brain, like overwhelm. So it helps when you have ADHD or you have productivity issues, you're trying to sort out how to do things. It also helps when you're neurodivergent in any way, because you're able then to really begin to hone in on what you want to get done. So I've gotten a lot of my work done over the years with a form of body doubling way before it was called that. I have clients of mine who have found body doubling in their workplace and in their social lives, and they're not calling it that until I give it a name. And when I say, oh, we call that body doubling now, they're like, oh, really? And then they get all happy because there's a name for it. So sometimes I think, just like getting a diagnosis, sometimes when we can name it, when we can call it a thing and it's valuable and it's real, it has much more meaning to us, right? I think it's important. Now, if you're an introverted person, sometimes best body doubling is to have an extroverted friend, especially if you have to go to a social event or something where you don't really want to go because you're introverted and it's a little shaky, right? Or maybe you get a little anxiety. When you have an extroverted friend who's the socialite, it's a lot easier. So sometimes you can have a body double in situations that aren't work or productivity related. They could be social. And that extroverted friend helps kind of break the ice and lead the way so that your introverted nature can feel connected and have experiences and make friends. Because once you start, you're good. So there's all kinds of ways that we can use body doubling. And I think it's cool that it's gone viral, especially on TikTok. And who would have figured that I'd even be on TikTok a lot? But I love watching the videos that teach about things and the funny ones, especially with the dogs. And it brings my heart joy. And so sometimes for those of us who have all this regulation and overwhelm and neurodivergent things, sometimes just having a place to just settle in and laugh a little bit and realize that taking life so seriously all the time, it's just life happening. You know, my grandfather said, it's just life happening. And that helps my empathic, sensitive nature realize that it's not about me. It's just life happening, right? So understand that if you need sustained attention or you want to have a way to focus in a more detailed way, try body doubling. Body doubling with someone you trust, try focusmate.com or something like that. I do virtual work time with some other friends of mine who are entrepreneurs where we'll just meet up on Zoom and both of us work on things and then come back in an hour and say, okay, what do we get done with our own little one-on-one kind of thing. There's lots of creative ways to use this idea, to use the way that having another human connected to you helps your neurology. So use your creativity and give yourself permission to realize that because you're gifted, you don't have to do it alone. Because you're smart, you don't have to do it alone. Because you can figure it out all by yourself, you don't have to do it alone. It's much more effective as humans when we're connected to somebody of the same species, another human. So sort out a way to keep connection in a way that serves you, that does not overwhelm you. There's all kinds of options. So I hope this episode has reminded you that there's all kinds of resources right in front of us that we can find in the weird trends on social media that may or may not be directly related, but kind of could be, right? We could use them in our benefit, and we can have real life experiences that help us become even more of who we want to be, to come to undo the distractions and the overwhelm. I hope this episode has served you well. Try some body doubling and leave me some comments. Let me know how it works for you. And what do you do for body doubling? Maybe some of your comments will help some others of my listeners and people in this great Someone Gets Me community. In the meantime, remember to keep your face to the sun so the shadows fall behind you, because you are a rock star. You're here on purpose with a mighty, mighty purpose. So go out there, try some body doubling, do some things that bring you joy. And remember, you're the best idea this universe ever had. Go after it and smile and light up your world. Till the next episode, be well.
Thank you for listening. I trust you gained some valuable inspiration and information. Please join me and other visionaries in the Someone Gets Me Facebook group. Or for more information on my services and additional episodes, visit someonegetsme.com. Again, thanks for listening.